The night the challenge was spoken, the room seemed to hold its breath. A chessboard rested between two lives that had been broken and rebuilt in very different ways, its black and white squares glowing under a single hanging light like a silent judge. She had said it with absolute certainty, as if destiny itself were leaning on her shoulder, offering a promise that could not fail. If he won the match, she would marry him. What followed was not the answer anyone expected, and it would change both of them forever. Before the story unfolds any further, pause for a moment. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the quiet power of people who keep going even when life has taken everything from them, take a second to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this live because of hearts that believe. He had not always been the man people saw now. Once, his life had been loud and full, crowded with plans that stretched years ahead. Then came the accident, the sudden absence, the kind of loss that turns the world into something unrecognizable. He became a single father overnight, holding a tiny hand while his own heart was falling apart. Responsibility arrived without warning, heavy and permanent. There was no time to grieve properly, no space to collapse. There was a child who needed breakfast, warmth, and reassurance that tomorrow would still come. Chess entered his life again during those quiet, exhausted evenings after his son fell asleep. It had been a love from his youth, something he had once played competitively before adulthood pulled him away. Now it returned as a refuge. The board did not ask questions. It did not pity him. It simply demanded focus and honesty. Every move carried consequence, and in that clarity, he found peace. Slowly, night after night, he sharpened his mind while the rest of the world slept. She came from a different kind of silence. Wealth had surrounded her since birth, but warmth had not. Her life was measured in expectations, in appearances that mattered more than feelings. She had learned early that confidence was armor, and she wore it flawlessly. Success followed her easily, but fulfillment never did. Chess was her rebellion, the one place where titles and money dissolved, where only skill mattered. She had beaten seasoned players twice her age, and with every victory, her certainty grew that she controlled her fate. Their meeting was unplanned, almost accidental, in a community hall that smelled faintly of old wood and coffee. A small local chess tournament had drawn players of all kinds, and neither expected much from it. He came because it was close to home and free, and because his son had insisted that he go, eyes bright with pride. She came because boredom had crept into her polished life, and she needed a challenge worthy of her confidence. From the first moment, the contrast between them was unmistakable. He carried the quiet gravity of someone who had endured loss and learned to stand anyway. She carried herself like someone who had never been told no and did not expect to hear it now. When they sat across from each other in the final round, the room buzzed with curiosity. Few knew his story. Many knew hers. The match unfolded slowly, deliberately, like a conversation without words. Pieces moved with care, each decision revealing something about the person behind it. He played defensively at first, absorbing pressure, waiting. She attacked boldly, certain that his caution was weakness. Spectators leaned forward, sensing that something deeper than a game was being decided. As the tension grew, so did her confidence. Victory seemed inevitable to her, and with it, a strange impulse rose, something reckless and dramatic, fueled by pride and curiosity. She made the offer lightly, almost playfully, believing it impossible that he could refuse or that she could lose. The promise hung in the air, shocking some, amusing others. To her, it was a gesture of power. What stunned everyone was not the position on the board, but the calm in his eyes. He did not respond immediately. He did not smile or bristle. He simply continued playing, as if the offer had never been spoken, as if his focus was somewhere far deeper. Move by move, he began to turn the game. Small advantages appeared, unnoticed at first, then undeniable. Her certainty wavered. The room grew quiet. He won not with a dramatic flourish, but with patience, with a sequence so clean and inevitable that resignation became the only option left. The match ended, and the promise demanded acknowledgement. Eyes turned to him, waiting for triumph, for acclaim, for something loud. Instead, he looked at the board one last time, then at her, and delivered an answer that cut through the room like truth always does. He spoke not of marriage, not of winning. He spoke of his son, of responsibility, of the weight of promises made lightly and the cost of promises kept. He explained that love was not a prize, not a bet, not something earned through victory. It was a choice made daily, through sacrifice and care. He told her that he would never accept a future built on a challenge meant to amuse, because his child deserved stability, sincerity, and respect above all else. The silence that followed was profound. For the first time in her life, confidence cracked. No one had ever refused her so completely, so kindly, and so firmly. She felt something unfamiliar stir within her, not anger or humiliation, but reflection. The armor she wore suddenly felt heavy, unnecessary. Life did not change overnight for either of them. He returned home to his son, who asked eagerly how the game had gone. He smiled and said he had won something important, though not a trophy. She returned to her world of privilege, but it no longer fit as comfortably. The chessboard lingered in her thoughts, not as a battlefield, but as a mirror. Time passed. They met again, not as opponents, but as equals. Slowly, carefully, without promises or challenges, they learned about each other. She learned what it meant to show up without spectacle. He learned that opening his life did not diminish the love he had for his child, but expanded it. Trust grew quietly, without witnesses, without applause. In the end, what united them was not a game, but a shared understanding of what truly mattered. Love was not something declared boldly under bright lights. It was something built patiently, in ordinary moments, through honesty and respect. The chess match became a story they rarely spoke of, except as the moment when two lives collided and were forever altered. If this story is touching your heart right now, if it reminds you that real strength is often quiet and real love is never a gamble, please take a moment to engage with this video. Your likes, shares, and comments help these stories reach others who might need them. Before the ending fades, leave a comment below sharing what part of this story moved you the most. Your words matter more than you think. Because sometimes, the most powerful answer is not the one that claims a reward, but the one that protects what truly matters.